do tend to get lost, and I'm a bit of a self-confessed data analytics geek, which is probably why they didn't really let me out of the office too often. But there we go. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with too many data slides. I've got one in there, just to kind of keep you awake. But first, what I wanted to really talk to you about is hosteling. So, how do you work? Is it this way? Cool. Basically, once upon a time, before Generator joined the market, hostels was it's a bit of a dirty word. People didn't really talk about hostels. It was a practical option. It ticked the budget box, and the most that you could really hope for, that it was clean, really. It was safe, it was clean. And then Generator joined the market and reinvented the word, what hostels all are about. So we took budget travel, and we made it quite glamorous and quite stylish. So as you can see, we've got Generator London here and Generator Venice. So Generator, we're a discovery brand. We've kind of entered this market as a niche. We didn't really know what to expect. And we're targeting millennials travelers. And we've got 9 different properties across Europe in 8 different cities at the moment. So Barcelona, Berlin, Copenhagen, Dublin, Hamburg, London, Venice, and Paris. And we've got 2 opening next year. So we've got Rome opening at the beginning of the year, and we've also got Amsterdam opening at the beginning of the year as well. So watch out, Amsterdam, we're coming to get you. So what is Generator really trying to do? So we're taking the hotel concept. So we're taking the room categories. We've still got shared rooms. You can still stay in a shared room. You can still stay in a large shared room with shared bathrooms, but you can have an ensuite bathroom. You have twins and quads as well for your family, for your friends. But you can also stay in private twins. You can stay in premium rooms with balconies. This one's in Paris. And if you really want to pimp up your stay, you can stay in a penthouse suite in Barcelona with all the mod cons. It's got 270-degree views of Barcelona that looking over Sagrada Familia. It's got a widescreen, jacuzzi, minibar. So it's taking hostels to the next level. And again, we're taking the hotel concept of food as well. It's not just, you get a breakfast on a tray, which is like salami and ham. You can actually get a proper breakfast. We have a foie gras burger in Paris, not to my personal choice, but it's still available. Côte de Boeuf, you can have snails. In Dublin as well, that you can, our Dublin property actually got voted the 3rd best burger to have in Dublin across all the different restaurants, which is great. And that's creating a destination itself as well, which I'll come on to. And then what we're doing with hotel, we're taking our S, which is the social element, and we're putting right in the middle of the hotel to make it a hostel. And our social element is about our great events, our social spaces, our design-led areas. And this is in Berlin-Mitte. You can also stay in an apartment in Berlin-Mitte if you like as well. So it's a big challenge for us. Like Cleveland, we're kind of reinventing what hostels are about. We're re-educating the market of what hostels are about. And obviously you've got kind of the first mover effect. So people don't really know about hostels. But because we're the first mover, it's quite difficult for us, but also that it's going to be quite hard to compete when we've got all these competitors coming through as well. So what we're creating here is an aspirational brand at a lower price point, but targeting people, millennials, who have got actually a bit more money to spend. And these are our kind of 3 USPs. So what we're trying to do, again, is not really focus on the core products. We're not focusing on come and stay with us in a bed, come and stay with us and have a beer. We're focusing on the experience and the emotion that it really kind of drives. So for instance, this presentation flicker, it's not just a presentation flicker. It wants to take you on a journey from start to finish of your presentation. It wants to kind of freedom to go forwards, backwards. I can point with it, and it wants to feel your hand and grip tightly and push the buttons and feel your sweat dripping down it. No? Maybe that's a bit too far, but you get the point. Sex sells. Anyway, so these are our 3 USPs. Basically, we look at sociable community. We're looking at staff feeling kind of being warm, quite honest, friendly, knowledgeable of the city. And we want to create this social space. So again, we're looking at locals, and it's not just the locations that we're in. So we pick kind of destinations where up-and-coming areas, cool areas to be, center of the city, easy to access. It's all about kind of being local and community focused. And having that emotional experience aspect of the brand is all about your staff. So one of our creative directors said that, staff is our magic ingredient, it's our special sauce, and that just to reflect the community. And then innovation, obviously, Generator is a new concept, it's an innovative concept. So every marketing action that we do needs to kind of carry on, it needs to have this innovation piece to it. It's a fresh new hybrid. So who are these customers that we want to target? These guys are millennials born after 1980. Obviously, this is just one of our target groups. So they're not aware of pre-internet era. They're very technical savvy. They know advertising. Hands down, they've been adverse to it like throughout their whole journey. They kind of see billboards everywhere. They're online. They see banner displays, and then they're inspired by friends, and they have this thing, and they have social media at their fingertips all the time. So it's just constantly sharing. And we've got this thing called FOBO. Does anyone know what FOBO is? Or FOMO? Does anyone know what FOMO is?
I have it. It's fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. So, and then FOBO, what we say is fear of being offline. They don't want to be offline. They just want to be connected to a wider community all the time. They want to share things. They want to keep up to date with what all their friends are doing. And if you need to kind of basically make sure that people are able to do this in the properties that we have. And what else do they like? They like to have a tailored experience. They like to, feel wanted if they're booking more than once with you. They want to know about who they are, and they want you to kind of reward them based on that. They have like a what's in it for me relationship. So they're not selfish, but they actually want to know what's in it for me. They want to be rewarded and incentivized. Maybe not in the hard sell, maybe not in the point system, but they want to know that they feel welcome into your community. So they might have exclusive promotions because they're part of your community. So they want to be invited to exclusive events because they're part of your community. It's not just, stay with us and you get like 20% off the next day. It's about making them feel wanted and making them feel quite loved. These guys are quite soppy, really. And they've got huge expectations. So what we saw was a benefit last time, it's an expectation to them now. For instance, the 3 things that millennials look for when they go to a hostel or a hotel. The first one is cleanliness. The second one is comfort. Does anyone know what the third one is? Free Wi-Fi. It's free Wi-Fi. They have to have free Wi-Fi. These guys have got FOBO. They need to be connected at all times. And they want to be inspired as well. So we try and use as much lifestyle imagery as possible, because we're not selling the bed at the end of the day. We're selling this experience, the Genexperience. So this is what we call like our unified voice, to be consistent across all these different channels. So whether it's in property, whether it's in social media, you need to have the consistent tone of voice, because you've got one shot, you've got one opportunity. That's an Eminem track. There we go. It's the lyric. Northern Norway might like that. Anyway, so you need to kind of be consistent across all these different touch points. So we've got great events, it's our website. And if you're not consistent, and if you have like a social media post that's out, then you can lose these guys. And not just lose these guys, but you can lose their friends and their family as well. So what we try and do across all these different touch points is create that experience. And we just make sure that our tone of voice is consistent and it's unified, and we don't want to come up, it's telling a narrative again, it's like storytelling across all these different channels. So we don't want to be the embarrassing dad. We want to tell them how it is, because the embarrassing dad kind of turns up, tries to be really cool, and just kind of does a bit of dance, and it's like, oh, Dad, come on, no, please, don't do that. You just got to tell them how it is, and if you'll kind of over-embellish it, then these guys know you're lying. They've got, the millennials, what we call, they've got bullshit sensors. So they just know they've been, visible to advertising throughout the whole journey. They know if you're lying. If you send out a tweet, let's say, about an event, say, oh, it's the best event possible, come downstairs, and we use a picture from a past event, and they get downstairs, and it's like 3 guys just like taking shots or something at the bar, and it's like, no, I don't like these guys. So it's just about having a consistent tone of voice. And then this is about our decision-making process. So again, Thomas was talking about his process. This just goes on about it before they actually enter the property. But so we have from awareness to purchase. And what this does, if you know how your customer feels, if you know what they want, if you know who your customer are, if you know their habits on different content channels, then you can base your content strategy and your advertising strategy based on these preferences. So for instance, from a new customer point of view, you've got the awareness. It might be a presentation. It might be an advert, an EasyJet mag. It might be a magazine or a press release. And then you've got the opinion. So the user might go onto online, do a bit of searching. They might see a blogger that would put a review out about us. Or they might have come to an event and put a review on their blog. And then they go to preference. So they might check TripAdvisor. They might go on social media to look at all the different reviews coming through. And then they kind of go to the opinion stage and make a consideration stage where they go on your website, they see a special offer, and they go into the purchasing funnel. So these are just a few examples. And also it's very targeted, again, at the millennial audience. We also have different decision-making processes for different customers. And it's also important to note that the existing customer, these guys have a completely different way of marketing to them. So you market, well, what we do from Generators, we market them from the content strategy point of view. We look at kind of including them in, let's say, an email and making them feel quite wanted. If they return book with us directly, then we make sure that we kind of recognize them. We know their name. And so how do we do this at different times, at decision-making process times? So for instance, we have these 360 views on Google Street View. You might have seen that obviously you can kind of now, well, a few years back, you can kind of go and actually check out your journey before you actually travel. And now you can actually do that in different properties as well. And very few hoteliers actually do this. And what we really wanted to showcase was our interiors and how design-led they are and how spacious they are. So in the opinion phase, if people are searching for Generator, they might go onto this and actually be wowed by it. We know that millennials, they don't want to kind of read loads of content about a different story. They just want to click and they just want to kind of be engaged by it and see pretty pictures. And this is what we find that they really engage with. And so it's not just the common areas that you can go and find. You can actually see the shared rooms, you can see the twin rooms, you can go up to the penthouse suite in Barcelona. So it's about engaging very visually with our audience. And then we have our event strategy. And our events are what we really kind of hang our hat on. Because we have, let's say, this is a live streaming event. So we don't just kind of have an event in Dublin, we actually try and broadcast it across our different channels. So we actually stream it live so people can actually tune in. And we bring in, we create a platform for talent, so we bring local DJs in. We also have quite well-known DJs from Kitsune, and we had NTS Radio, which is a London kind of based radio station. And so we have this platform for talent, and from my point of view, from a digital marketing point of view, what we want to do is really kind of create a story around it. So it's kind of before the event, we post out content. During the event, we want to make people share this content. And then after the event, we want to kind of release the content over a series of a couple of months to try and create that buzz. And one instance that I've got here, so actually just before I go, don't just have like parties. We have exhibitions, we have talks, we have, this is like a market that we have in one of our hostels. And these are all trying to make sure that Generator we're more than a hostel. And we're not just like a destination or a hotelier. And we did a series of events last year called Regenerate, and we used the Regenerate hashtag for that. And what we did, we invited artists, we invited DJs, local musicians in to create an immersive experience in our hostels. And obviously, before the event, we had interviews with these artists. We had backstage photography, we had video journals, and we made sure that people actually kind of were aware of the event on Facebook. We had a Facebook event, and we did display banners even to drive awareness of the event. And then during the event, we tried to encourage sharing as much as possible using social feeds. And then even after the event, we kind of released this content over a series of months to try and keep on going that buzz. And we partnered with Lab Magazine, which is a magazine based in Canada for relationship purposes. So I've got a video on this. This video doesn't really showcase the event, But I quite like this video because it goes from a customer point of view and how they kind of go into this generator Copenhagen, and they see the check-in process, and they go downstairs and they see their friends, and it's all about the social experience that we want to create. Oh, sorry, video. Cool. So, I mean, what we really want to get out of that video was to show that, you know, people turn up to our hostels, they might not know people, they just come for that experience, they come just to stay overnight. And what we do for these events particularly well is we invite bloggers, we invite Instagram influencers, we invite press to these events, so we know that we're going to get that viral buzz throughout social media during the event and even after the event as well. So bloggers, love them or hate them, they're still highly influential in travel. So the blogs are twice as likely as magazines to have inspired a product purchase over the last 6 months. So if you're kind of comparing it to press, if it is comparable, then you can use that statistic. And how we use bloggers for reviews. So we do invite bloggers to our events to get content. So there's a city guide from Yin and Yang. There's a couple of reviews here as well. We stayed at Generator Berlin Mitte and Generator London. So, you know, these guys still have high influence over millennials, but we also use bloggers. It's quite an interesting way is for rappers for content as well. So we do have city guides on our website. We do share them across social media as well. But if we're producing a city guide from a generator perspective, it might not be as trusted and well respected. You know, people think, oh, it's a city guide from a brand. They probably get commission of all the restaurants and bars that they recommend, or I'm not going to read a city guide from your brand. So what we do is we integrate ourselves in the blogger community, and we let them stay with us. And sometimes if they do want a bit of money, then we're quite resistant to it, but we do pay bloggers as well for content. And so we create content for our website, and we link back to them, we give them credit for it, and it's hosted on our website, but it's actually written by these bloggers. So if you go on Generator website, then you'll see something like the top whiskey bars to go to in London, written by Miss Whiskey. You might see something about the alternative things to do throughout Valentine's Day by Stay Classy. What to pack for a 48-hour trip to Berlin by Pack Your Passport. So it's creating this type of content through the blogger community, and it affiliates ourselves with these bloggers also. And then user-generated content. We love user-generated content. Every brand should love user-generated content. It helps, especially millennials, it helps you connect to them at like a deeper and emotional level. We know that millennials check about 10 sources of content, or before they actually make a product purchase, they ask friends and family, they probably go on TripAdvisor, and many of these sources are just user-generated content they check. And so 84% of millennials are influenced by user-generated content. And we love to get involved. We really want to get involved, but sometimes you have to step back. Again, you don't want to be the embarrassing dad trying to be too cool and trying to get involved. You want to step back and just make it happen. And you want to facilitate this as much as possible. So what we do at quite a lot of events that we have, for instance, our London launch party or event that we had last year, we kind of invited lots of Instagram influencers, lots of Twitter influencers, and we had a social feed just like this with a hashtag. And what we found was really actually quite effective was a top leaderboard feed. And it was crazy how these influencers, especially from Instagram and Twitter, how competitive they are, how they want to be at these top of these leaderboards. So they'll ask for retweets, they'll be posting all the time and using the hashtag. And it's obviously great for us because we're just creating awareness around this event. This guy was absolutely loving it as well. I don't know who he's actually with. He's probably one of the Instagrammers who are top of the leaderboard, to be honest. But anyway, so we love the realness and authenticity. And obviously, there are some negative reviews that you get. On our Facebook page, for instance, this girl obviously stayed at Generator Venice. And for those who want to party, there's a pub right downstairs. For those who want to sleep, there's a pub right downstairs. And this was on the top of our Facebook page, our main Facebook page, for about 6 weeks, mainly because people just kept on liking it. And we're just like, well, what do? We don't want to delete it. We want to encourage this as much as possible. But we replied to them, and we asked the general manager to basically get in touch with her, and it was all fine. But that's the kind of the realness and challenges that we face, especially from a hostel brand. But I couldn't actually just leave it with that, so I actually put in a review that I found on TripAdvisor just a couple of weeks ago, and what I quite like about this review, it talks about the experience that this person had in Generator. It doesn't just talk about his stay, it talks about the staff, he would recommend staying. It's a fantastic experience. He's going to go back to London. When he goes back to London, he's going to stay at Generator. So it's all about creating that experience that people share with their friends. And again, like Thomas said, it's like word of mouth advertising is key, especially for millennials. Copenhunters, what I really wanted to showcase, obviously a lot of DMOs in the room, and our sales team, our local sales team, engage with and interacts with DMOs all the time, and we work together quite closely in driving traffic to our cities and driving traffic to the different countries as well, and working together on that. However, I think this came about from our social media specialist was talking to someone at Visit Denmark at one of our Copenhagen events, and they just talked about a campaign that they really wanted to run. And we're open to ideas with DMOs, we're open to ideas with other local organizations. And so what we did, we asked for 9 bloggers who stayed at Generator. It's a very low-budget campaign. They stayed at Generator. We set them dares across the city as well. And we encouraged people from Copenhagen, we encouraged people who visited Copenhagen to try and get involved in this dares process as well. So we had kind of 800 posts on Instagram and Twitter using Copenhunters. That was just from these guys' networks and our networks and Visit Denmark's networks, just posting about it and trying to get people engaged on it. And obviously, 9 pieces of coverage, total page views is about 250,000. And this is just a campaign that we ran with Visit Denmark just to increase our social community, to start a relationship together between us and Visit Denmark, and also to create Generator as a well-trusted brand, as a well-trusted accommodation provider in the different markets. This is one way of doing it. And then we use social media. Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are 3 main channels. We use social media for a variety of objectives, for collecting data, for community driving value, for even driving bookings as well. We've actually found that Facebook can drive bookings. It's a bit of annoying. Well, it's not annoying, but it's like we're not really too sure why. But obviously, Facebook is turning into an advertising platform. It's wanting you to, boost posts all the time. It's wanting to advertise with them. It's creating so much money from customers' data. But what we used with the Paris campaign, so we launched Paris, Generator Paris in February, and what we wanted to do was to create a positive entrance into the Parisian market that has quite a negative connotation of hosteling. So it's got a berge de jeunesse, which actually means youth hostel. And we want to kind of move away from the youth hostel, but we're not a hotel, we're not a hostel, we're Generator. And it's about kind of educating people of who we are. And so what we did, we tried to embed ourselves within the local community as much as possible. So by doing that, we used, for one campaign on Instagram, we had Instagram influencers. We found, I think one of these is actually Venice, but the three of them are from Paris. And they've got high amounts of following, and what we asked them to do is take over the Generator account for a week or so, just posting Parisian pitch photos, and we tapped into their network, and it grew our Instagram likes by about 2,000, and 150% increase in engagement per post. And what we're following up that campaign as well. We're doing an SoMeT, which is where lots of Instagrammers get together. These guys are hosting it, so they're going to do it in Generator Paris. They're going to talk about Instagram. They're going to go on an Instagram walk around Paris as well, taking photos and using a certain hashtag. And what we also did to integrate ourselves in the local community, we interviewed local people, local organizations, local influencers. We partnered with Kitsune, a record label in Paris as well, and we launched this Sound of Paris campaign. And what this Sound of Paris campaign is we wanted Parisian DJs or producers or people who just like to make music to put together a track from their sounds of Paris. And they submit this track with a chance to win studio time with Kitsune. They're able to play at a Generator event. And obviously, they've got we post it on all our social media channels. We partner with Kitsune, so we post on all of their social media channels. So it's about kind of increasing awareness, again, of Generator and coming into a market with a positive entry. And we actually kind of got the Sound of Paris campaign quite soon. And I think the voting actually started, so you can go and check out the tracks that have been submitted. And we ran this on Facebook, and we also ran this on Twitter as well. And again, Twitter, in terms of engagement, in terms of advertising on Twitter, in terms of engagement, you get a lot out of it in terms of growth of following, clicks, engagements, retweets. However, we ran a campaign, it was a Christmas campaign, and we went on Twitter, and we kind of tried to put money behind it to drive bookings. It just didn't generate any revenue. My director wasn't too pleased about that. But anyway, it's about testing these markets and about creating a positive entry into these markets as well. So we do use Facebook. We do have daily posts go out, and we do do campaigns, advertising campaigns, but there are different objectives to it, which is why I was creating this social experience on social media is key. And then we have our local accounts as well. So creating kind of a customer service value between Generator and the customer. We can't do it from head office all the time. We actually had a central Instagram account. We do have a central Twitter account still, but we do have localized Twitter accounts, and there are a number of reasons why. The first one is they can embed themselves in the local community so much quicker and so much faster than we can. They can answer customer queries so much faster than we can, and also from Twitter, you can listen out to conversations. You know what's going on in the local markets, and you can actually jump into those conversations. So using things like Hootsuite, things like TweetDeck. For instance, on the Generator London one, on this side, someone's just tweeting about, oh, where can I stay in a hotel in London? And because we've got a keyword search, or Generator London got a keyword search set up for hotel in London, you can jump into that conversation. Even if they didn't mention Generator or use a hashtag, we can jump in and say, oh, we've got a cool hostel, come and stay with us. And what's quite nice about this campaign is someone else actually jumped in that conversation as well and said, yeah, I can vouch for that, go and stay at Generator London. So, and then from a customer service point of view as well, you've got Dublin using it absolutely brilliantly. I love the general manager of Dublin, how he uses Twitter, because he embeds himself in local communities, actually driven bookings through it. He's driven kind of a viral response. So 1 minute. Apparently something's going to drop if I don't close in 1 minute, so I'm going to leave. Anyway, 5 minutes. So this is about kind of wowing the customer. So what happened was someone was ill. This is a blogger as well, so she's kind of up in her bunk, she's feeling ill. And to wow the guests, we kind of sent her up and sent up a cup of tea. And she obviously responded, and it's great for our press and local networks. Yes, my favorite slide, data. Anyway, so what we try and do is we try and mix. Obviously, you can do lots of marketing campaigns. You can use lots of nice imagery. But what the most important thing, the most intelligent thing is putting the science behind it, to have a balance between the art and the science. And where this science comes from our point of view, is through data. And this is data through like a small campaign that we ran. And making sure that we know who our customer is, making sure that we know when their lead time is, and if it differs per country. So Germans often tend to book a lot further out than English people who are just kind of booking on the spur of the moment. And it's important to know that from marketing campaigns. And it's not just about kind of looking at data, it's about looking at trends. And I know it's really hard to look at trends and what's going to happen kind of in the future for different markets, but you can actually use your data, or how we do it, a data-driven approach is to use the data to actually forecast what's going to happen. You can see them kind of maybe millennials actually booming, so you're like, right, this is the market that we want to target. So 3 points. Obviously, I've got more than 3 points on this slide, but the main 3 points that I want everyone maybe to take away with them is that be authentic. Just be real, just communicate the benefits, and let people come to you. Don't over-embellish things, because these guys know that you're lying. Don't be overly forced, just be authentic. The second one is millennials, they love to share, they've got FOBO, so facilitate that, try and get involved in the conversation as much as possible. And the third one is just be consistent across all channels. The tone of voice, the way you approach customers, ensure the content is fresh, and just be consistent across every different touch point the customer has. Thank you.